Just sure. So, hi, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, wherever we are joining in from. It's nice to have everyone here finally today's PropTech demo. Bad weeks and months of planning, rehearsals, dry runs, and it's just great to have the presenters here. It's great to have the investors. It's great to have the speakers. I can see all of the presenters are already here, the investors, and one of the speakers or two of the speakers already in the panelists section. Just to give a bit of background context. So today's PropTech demo was born from the result of our PropTech funding report, which we released back in June or July. And what we found out was that despite the fact that PropTech generally has not gotten a large chunk of funding compared to sectors like fintech, e-commerce in Africa's tech ecosystem, there's been there's been little funding going to that sector. But despite that, Nigeria is one of the big four in terms of VC funding to African tech startups. But in prop tech terms, Nigeria is not top two or top three. And if we are talking about the fact that industry needs, as much as there's innovation in industry, innovation requires capital to scale. And so when we found that gap, that markets like Egypt, Kenya had gotten substantial funding, we thought it would be great to have an event of this nature where we have stakeholders, investors, industry players in the real estate sector, developers, realtors, and also builders, innovators come to pitch their solutions and then their services to the multiple problems that are faced in the housing or real estate sector as far as Nigeria is concerned. And so without further ado, we'll just go straight into it. Today's session is going to be pretty much pitch and demo. So the first startup that goes is going to be My Crib and then Dormont. Each startup has about 15 minutes, just as we mentioned in the dry run, 15 minutes to pitch and also to the demo. We shared the pitch decks already with the investors, so they already have a sense of what the startup is, solution the startup is proposing to a problem. So we'll just get straight into it and get questions from the VCs. That's Uwe Mwemapan, who is the lead investor at Launch Capital. And we have Bola Tito Akombi, also from Ingressive. So once we do that, then we are going to have a fireside session with Lajide Ademola of Sabiru Projects and Daniel Chinwube of Antler Capital. So yeah, looking forward to today's session, the demo, the pitches, and a great conversation all around. So over to Eldred. I think Eldred can go for it right now. Hi, Eldred. Good afternoon.
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, I thought we were going for second.
I made a mistake. My crib. Hi.
If you want me to go now, I could go. It's no problem.
No. Let's stick to the order. So let's stick to the other. So we could have my crib. We should have Ola Oshofowora go for it, and then you have you next. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Trust you are good. Please confirm that you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Oladipo Oshofowola, and I'm co-founder, CEO of My Crib. And today I want to share the good news of what we are building at My Crib, and hopefully it interests you enough for you to want to partner with us and also invest in our startup. So I'm just going to take 5 minutes to quickly go through our pitch deck before I show the actual demo. So imagine in Africa right now, especially in Nigeria, if you want to rent an apartment, there's a very high chance that you do not know what exactly to expect. There's a very high chance that you are just going to be meeting with different types of agents who are probably also just going to get inspection fee, countless one, and basically just frustrate you and take you from one apartment to the other. And then at the end of the day, you realize that it's just all frustrating process that does not really yield results at the end of the day. And that traditional way is quite stressful. It's also time consuming. If you are looking for a decent apartment in Lagos right now, you probably take an average of 2 months for you to find the perfect apartment. And I'm sure that every single one of us, we've all gone through this at one point or another. And that's why at my group, we are building products and solutions that solve this problem. For us currently now, we have a property marketplace that not only showcase properties and apartments, but also gives you information for you to make the right decision. Imagine when you can rent an apartment and then you can be sure that, oh, this street where you are renting an apartment, the network there is very good. You can be sure of the best network available. You can also be very sure of the flooding analysis. You can also be sure of what the environment looks like. Like, you are able to make informed decision even before you pay money to anybody. And so we are doing that with our property marketplace. And then also we also have a tenant verification tool. This tenant verification tool is a tool that helps you verify your tenants before you hand over your keys to them. Imagine if you can know your customers in depth enough for you to predict their behavior and then also safeguard yourself and your business as well. So, and we also have our neighborhood insights and then the escrow system. So our current products includes the marketplace, which I've explained, and the AI-powered neighborhood insights. This neighborhood insights gives you information into the neighborhood, your environment. You can tour your environment virtually through the Google Street View. You also get information about flooding analysis. So you are informed and you're able to make better decisions. Imagine if you rent an apartment now on the island and you are not aware that this particular street where you are taking up this apartment is a street that gets flooded easily. My team is giving you that information such that if you decide to go ahead and rent an apartment in an area where we've already given you an heads up about, at least you are better prepared to manage the situation. And then we have our tenant and guest verification tool, and then the rent savings and the escrow wallet. And as it is, this market is a huge market, very, very huge. And then we are building an ecosystem that can provide you solution to people. And if you check between us and our competitors, our current competitors are guys like Split, Property Pro, Buy Let Live, Crossco. And if you check our product range, you realize that MyCribs offers the complete package that can help any user make informed decision and the perfect set of products to make life easier, from finding an apartment to renting that apartment and also paying for that apartment. So we have the neighborhood data. We also have tenant verification too. We have rent savings and escrow protection. We have map search and navigation, 3D virtual tour, and street view. This one is a game changer because with MyCrib, you can tour the apartments all on your phone or on any gadgets that you want. So you don't have to keep on going for countless inspection. In fact, our major driving point at MyCrib is that any property that you are seeing on MyCrib is exactly what you get there. So if you decide as a user to go for inspection on a property that you are finding on MyCrib, it means that you are almost 80 to 90% sure of that apartment and you actually are interested in taking it up. If not, we've simplified everything. So our traction so far, we have over 1,700 users. We've made over $100 in revenue. We have over 120 landlords and realtors on board on our platform so far. And then we also have about 92 residential units valued at 2.5 million. We are trusted by Tech Circle. We are also in partnership with SoftHill, Mandate VI, and also the Lagos State government. And our leadership team includes Ishak Wilson, who is the CEO, myself, Oshofo Alade, the CEO, then Tolu Lokwe Olani, who is the CTO. Our business model is quite simple. For the tenant verification tool, we charge per report. And then for commissions on properties, we charge only just 10% commission on each property. And then we also have virtual tour production, and the markup is starting at $999. And then for escrow payments, it's only 2.5% fee. And then we also have interest on rent savings on completion, which is just 5%. And our ask on this call is basically $100,000 for 10% equity. And so far, we've raised $5,000. And in our $5,000, our key milestones, like the key things that we want to really achieve going forward, is to be able to boast of 5,000 users in 12 months, and 2,000 of these users are paying users. And then we're able to launch our rent wallets in Q1 2026. So yeah, this is it. And I just quickly want to go into the product so that you can see what we have on board. So yeah, this is what the product looks like. Please confirm that you can still see my screen.
No, we see the presentation, not the product.
Oh wow. Okay, give me a second. Let me share my screen again. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, this is what my clips looks like right now. If you come down here, you see a list of properties that we currently have. Just for an example, I can go into one of those properties, and then this is what it looks like. So you can click on the photo tab, and then you can see every picture on that property, like every single picture that you need for you to make an informed decision. So the living room, you can see all of this just by scrolling on the apartment as it is. So basically what we are doing is to help people make an informed decision without you having to stress yourself, going for countless inspections that are still going to, not give you the sort of apartments that you really want. So yeah, and then this is what it looks like. So if you click on the street view, you can actually also see what the streets of the apartments looks like. So let me launch this and get into it. Okay, I think because I'm presenting, so yeah, okay. So you can do a street view of the apartment and then see what the environment looks like even before you rent the apartment. Basically, what we are doing is help you make an informed decision such that you are pretty almost 80% sure that yes, this is the sort of thing that you want, and then you can easily book an inspection or get into the apartment. So yeah, this is what our marketplace currently looks like. So we also have recommendations as well for every listing. And then as an agent, you can come here and then add listing as an agent. So all you need to do is come here, and then you can click on adding a new listing, and then you can do that. And for every of these listings on my group, they are all vetted. We don't just allow any type of listing on this on our websites. We check everything to be sure. And also, we also have the tenant verification tool. I'm going to click on that right now so that we can see what the tenant verification tool looks like. So this is the tenant verification tool. So imagine now that I'm a landlord and then I want to rent an apartment or even a short-let apartment to a guest. So all I need to do for me to verify that person is to come in here. I'm going to put in the email address of the guest. So I can say, okay, this is your email address. And then how much is the apartment that this person wants to rent? So let's just say 500,000. And then I'm going to enter the phone number of this person. So I'm just going to use a random phone number. And then I'll come here and select the verification type, whether this is a tenant for a typical household or a short-let guest. So I can just come in here and then select that, oh, this person is a tenant, and then I'm going to send invites. So the moment that I send invite to this person is going to get an email, and then they will fill up that email, give us their information. And once they are done filling up that information, we are going to check their information, check it, and then be able to use that to make an informed decision. So I'm going to quickly share what the report looks like so that you have an idea what the landlord gets to make their decision. So just give me a second. Let me share that real quick.
Just keeping us the time. We have about 2 more minutes. Ola, just as a heads up.
Yeah, that's perfect. No problem. Okay. Yes. Good. Okay, so I'm sure you can see my screen now. This is what the report looks like as it is. So you have the name of the tenants. You also have this status, that is this person a low risk person? Because at the end of the day, you don't want somebody who's just going to maybe take up your apartment and then not be able to pay, on the long run. So we have the date where the report is generated, the reference ID, then we have their summary. So we also have this thing called the CRIPS Trust Score. And this score is basically a rating of how good is this person financially as a tenant also, and how is their ability to meet their financial obligation. So all of these are demo data, by the way. This is not a real person. You have their information, their phone number, email address, and then you also have this positive. So the good rent to income score. So rent to income score is basically how much are you earning, and then how much is your rent obligation, and we find a ratio of that. And then you also have clear background check, and then good reference. So we also have warning staff to show them, oh, maybe this person's ID card is not good or something like that. We at least help you to also know that. And then we give you the rent to income ratio. So basically this, and then we run a check within just 10 minutes, by the way. All of these reports, you get them within just 10 minutes. So we run a BVN check, ID check, selfie match, phone number match, all of this. Then you also get the employment and income information about this person, guarantor, and then their previous rental history. You get all of those things. And basically, you are able to make an informed decision with this report, such that you're not just renting your apartment to somebody based on guesswork alone, but you're renting your apartment based on an informed decision. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody. And this is what we are building in my crib and many more. Thank you so much.
You're muted, Mobilaji.
My bad. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was muted. Thank you very much, Ola, for that wonderful presentation and demo. Over to Eldred. So the questions will come after Eldred's session, and then we'll go straight to questions from investors that are on today's session. So yeah, Eldred, you're next.
All right, thank you. So let me share my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yep.
All right. Thank you, everyone. My name is Eldred. I'm the CEO of Domo Technologies. Domo Technologies is a company that is um, invested in creating solutions in the real estate space. Our product is called Domo Core, which is a property management solution. And I'll just give you a bit of a background about why myself and my co-founder, Ayomide, decided to do this. So I'm based in the United Kingdom. My parents will own real estate in Nigeria, And my parents are, oh, my mom is 87 and she can't handle her properties anymore. So I was looking for a solution on how to be able to manage the properties that we have back home, have visibility of what our tenants and everything out there. And maybe tenants can actually make payments. And I just couldn't find anything. I looked, I'm being based here. I have solutions for paying my mortgage, rental, everything is a complete digital solution. I have trust with my landlords and everything that any person I work with. But back home, I just didn't have any of that. And I decided my background is in software development. I've been working in software development and software project management for 15 years. So I decided to build one. I'm building one. I met Ayomide as well. I showed him the proof of concept, and he was working for Knight Frank as a property manager and Knight Frank Lagos. And so this is something that we both knew that there was a huge problem in the industry, and we needed to fix it. So let me start my presentation. So the reality of property management in across Africa is that there's pretty much a lack of trust. So you have property management companies who are managing millions of dollars in terms of rent and service charges, and they're also doing this manually. Still using WhatsApp and manual receipts. So like one of our clients, for example, they have over 500 units on our platform. And when we were onboarding them, it was simply a situation where they had cabinet shelves in their and every single tenant had to be it was in a filing system. I'm like, this is 2025. We cannot be handling properties like this and tenant information. Service requests get lost in chats. Property managers are having direct communication with tenants in terms of service requests and any kind of issues. There's no oversight for the organization in terms of what are the property managers doing? How is it? What's the tenant satisfaction like? What's going on? And there's no shared visibility between finance, maintenance, and tenants. There's no audit trail as well. So for example, if and there's no audit trail and there's high turnover rate, there's like over 83% turnover rate for property managers, and it's because it's a very, very, very stressful job. It's a situation where, for example, if a property manager that might be handing over 50 units for a company, if that person leaves, then you onboard a new property manager, that person can take up to 3 months to get up to speed. So that is a huge loss of time and finances in terms of for a company. So that is for the property manager, but then we have industrial barriers as a whole. So in terms of managers, I mentioned relying on spreadsheets, tenants now bypass processes. So because of there's also a lack of trust. There's also a huge amount of fraud that happens. Manual rent collections. There's loads of cases where someone wants to pay their rent and their managers or someone just gives them a bank account, and it's a situation where they make that payment and then they have lost their money because the person now will just flee with that money. As I mentioned, when a PM leaves, knowledge is basically gone. There's no way of knowing, for example, all right, the property manager is gone. What was the communication we're having like with the tenants previously? And we don't have that level of and due diligence. For someone like me that is living abroad, I know a lot of Nigerians and Africans who want to invest and buy property back home, but then we have to physically go there to look at it. We are scared. We don't know if this company, all the things are legit. There are so many stories that are happening in the news right now of fraud that is going on. So because we don't have payment railways for us to make these payments, have a dashboard that we can actually see our investments and the properties that we own. It's a situation where we just said, you know, let's not even bother at the end of the day. So the industry as a whole is right now in chaos. Right now, the value of real estate in Africa is pretty much around 17.6 trillion and is growing rapidly. In fact, it's among all the continents, Africa's real estate, besides China and India, is the fastest growing in the entire world. And by 2030, the expectation is that we're going to cross over 22 trillion. There's a huge housing deficit in Africa. There's a huge amount of, and if everybody that lives in Nigeria, you understand every street you go to, every area you go to, you're seeing massive estates being built, all of these things being built. And how are we being able to manage it is becoming a huge organizational chaos for the industry. So let me show you a quick video of Domot with our solution, and then I'll go into a live presentation of the application. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Domot Core is transforming how Africa manages properties by bringing the intelligence, automation, and trust global firms rely on. Every manager begins the day with clarity, payments, service requests, inspections, and communication in one platform. Domot's AI Priority Manager doesn't wait for problems. It flags the risks, prioritizes what matters, and helps teams act faster. From rent to renewals, Domot gives property management companies and their teams the tools to automate every workflow. Got a high amount of people visiting your estate in a day? You could suggest ramping up security to handle the flow. Domot connects you to your landlords, managers, residents, and security in one trusted digital ecosystem. We are not here to imitate global systems. We are here to build the benchmark for Africa and the world to follow. So let me show you the application. Now, how Domot operates is that we onboard your company first. We gather your data, we make sure that you're a properly registered company. And one of the things is that Domot is also registered, we're a UK registered company. We have a subsidiary in Nigeria. And in terms of payments, we have both Paystack and Flutterwave. So we're able to serve 24 African countries right now. We are currently in Nigeria, and our application has full Francophone support. We already have a client that we're serving in Cameroon at the moment, and we've just signed an agreement with another real estate company in Ghana, and we're doing demos with companies in South Africa. And we also understand some of the issues that you're having in terms of payments, and we're always working towards ensuring that. So what we do is we add your company, and when you have a company, we build it like Slack or Microsoft Teams, where you have multiple hubs. You can have hubs. So a hub is pretty much like your base of operations, and you can have like your company might be operating in 3 locations. You might have one hub for one of your locations, have another hub for your location as well, and basically you can operate all of that. So let me just give you a demo of what a hub could potentially look like. So let me launch Lagos operations. And this is going to be your dashboard as a senior property manager. Now, there's another higher level, the CEO. The CEO doesn't really want to log in, or CEO or CTO, they don't really want to log in and see the operations that are going in. They just want reporting, finding out how their employees, how many times they were logging in a day, how many people are paying via offline or online payments. So that's what they do. But this is pretty much the SPM, and is the most used part of the application. So here is pretty much your command center. You can view your recent invoices. You can see your payments. We have SMS and WhatsApp usage as well with emails. You can see all of that. We track service requests, how fast you are in terms of responding to service requests and resolving service requests. We give you that data in terms of your team as well, how fast they actually respond to clients' issues, and then occupancy rate, property type breakdown messages. And one of the things we also have that I mentioned is the AI Priority Manager. So the AI Priority Manager has access to everything in your hub, and it will alert you to any risks or any issues that you may have, your tasks for today. So it's like you log in today in the morning and it tells you, all right, this is what you're supposed to do. So these are your tasks, and this is pretty much your priority manager. It's always here at all times. And if you want to, you can view all items. Just click on it. It takes you to the priority manager page, shows you everything that you need to do, like a lease is expiring, there's a payment that you need to follow up. For example, there's a service request, busted pipe. You can go there, click on it, view the details. You can see the issues as well regarding the busted pipe. You can be having conversations between yourself and your tenant, your tenants or the homeowner. And if you want to, you can actually from here schedule a technician, and the tenant will also get that information that a technician has been scheduled. If you have visitor access control, for example, you'll be able to have information regarding your estate or your gated community. It gives you great insights. For example, you might have high booking alert for this weekend. It will tell you expected 400 visitors. You should maybe think about ramping up your security. You can now manage guests, manage gates. If you have multiple gates, for example, and entrances, you can actually do that from here. But the main aspect is also regarding your invoices. From here, you can view all your payments, your invoices. We've created a recurring payment system. We have created our own way of making recurring payments for rent, service charge. We can also do sales on the platform. If you want to do sales and you want to do something like sell a property, and one of the things we're very, very good at giving information. So we always have tooltips everywhere of how you can do anything you want. But for example, you want to sell a property, you can, the system knows all your properties that you have right there. You say you want to sell a property for 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, say 20 million. You want to, for example, make the person pay a deposit as well. So you can say, all right, I want the person to make a deposit of 30 million. Says, all right, okay. And then you now say the outstanding, that's say 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you want to, the person says, you know what, I want to pay installmentally. You can say, fine, convert the rest to installmental payments, annually, semi-monthly, and it will just automatically create all the invoices for the person to be paying during that period. So you can use the system for sales invoices. You can also create like rental invoices if you want to. And the thing with rental invoices, we have a great lease management section on our application. So it always knows as well if anyone is staying in any of the properties, it will be able to give you the information, shows that make sure that you cannot have duplicate rent invoices as well. And one of the great things is that with our platform is that it's a situation, since we have all this data, we'll always give you all the reports as well. You can view all your properties. It gives you all the data regarding all your properties. You can view any of your properties. We give you a visual representation. If there's no image, this is what you see. If you have images as well, you can have a visual representation of your images. It will show you who the resident is. You can go to the residence page, view their profile and all their leases as well. You can schedule service requests. We have performance metrics for your entire organization. You can see your entire team, how great they are in terms of all of these things. So our system, we have so many features. Our demos usually last like 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm trying to just run through some of the applications in here. So you can add landlords as well. You can send them income statements, rent schedules as well through the platform. And then with your employees as well, one of the things that we have with your employees is that with your employees, you can pretty much one thing with the employees is that you assign properties to your property managers. You can assign to your property managers. So like this property manager, Caleb Byrne, is handling all these properties. And when he logs in, he doesn't see the company's financial statements. He only sees the properties that he manages. And if Caleb Byrne resigns, all you just simply do is reassign the properties. That's it to any of your property managers. And all the messaging history, messages that has had with any of the tenants, rent schedules he sent, communication, everything transfers regarding that property to the new property manager. So a property manager spends pretty much like a day just getting up to speed of what the last property manager was doing. We also have a tenant dashboard, so I won't even go into the tenant dashboard, but when for your hub, you can onboard your tenants as well, add them onto the platform and all of that. Yeah, that's a very, very, very quick overview of our platform. Right now, we have over 700 managed units on the platform. Right now we are approaching $4,000 in revenue. We launched in June this year. And our first year, we should be approaching around $4,000 in revenue. We are just going in, we are going into final stage agreements with with Blue Ocean City in Asaba Delta State. It's over 300 hectares of land, and we are going to be signing up as a technological partner with them. And right now, we're conducting demos with with potential clients in South Africa, Uganda, and some in Ghana. So we've just really started our marketing to go across Africa. We started just pretty much like 3 weeks ago, and we already have like 9 or 10 demos launched. So at the moment, so our promise: one platform, one source of truth, from rent collections to inspections, From risk management to visitor access, Domot gives every estate developer and property company the tools that global firms use. This is what we have done. We have benchmarked Domot against international competitors, and this is pretty much what we know that is going to move the industry and bring trust and transparency into our system. The numbers as well. From the time we launched in June, we have been using our current clients to actually make sure we're attaining product market fit. We have seen faster staff onboarding, 90% faster staff onboarding, 50% reduction in admin costs. For people in diaspora, it's 100%. We've seen transparency increase. So one of the Cameroonian clients right now, one of the parent company is Jobomax, which is an American company that builds real estate in Africa. And right now, they have been so impressed with what they have. We are going into a full partnership with Jobomax, operating like four countries very soon. And then 10 times faster issue resolution as well because of service requests. No one is hiding behind WhatsApp. Whatever is on the platform, everybody sees it. If a tenant is not happy, they escalate it, and the entire organization now knows that they're not happy with what is going on. And we are built for Africa. We are designed to scale. We have end-to-end automation and insights accessible everywhere for managers, landlords, and residents. And that is everything we have. So our business model finally is we have a progressive pricing model. We have a one-time onboarding fee. And then what we do have is for the first 100 units, we charge you 1,500 naira per unit. Then when you go above 100 to 499, we charge you 1,125. And then above 500, it goes up to 750 naira a unit. If you add guest pass and you add landlord management portal, the price pretty much doubles. On our website, domo.io, we have an interactive calculator. We're also in Francophone African countries, so we have CEFA as well. So you can go there, add the amount of units, properties you have in there, and it will basically tell you, all right, plan C, this is your price, this is how much you're going to spend every month. And we also take 0.2% for every transaction, online or offline. All our invoices for payment reconciliation is on the platform. And you can include guest pass and landlord portal, and it will tell you what your prices are and everything. So we're fully transparent in terms of pricing. You know what you're getting from the get-go. And
Thank you, Domart.
pretty
We're gonna.
much it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eldred. That was a useful presentation. Thank you, Eldred. Thank you, Ola, for the beautiful presentations you've had so far. So we're going to go straight into Q&A. We have UM Akpan here. So lead investor at Launch Africa. We have Oluwatofumi Idowu from Lofty Inc. Capital, and we have Bolatito Akombi from Aggressive Africa. So in no particular order, if you want to ask questions, you can go for it and just unmute.
Hi everyone, I'm here. I think my question is to everyone. This isn't a new space in terms of the solutions you're building. Many people have tried before you to hack the market. I'm curious to what you're doing differently compared to every other person that has tried to build in this space, and how you are approaching the market, given that real estate in Nigeria is very, very traditional in its approach, from management of the agent networks to even the property managers. Very, very traditional. I had to go sit down with my estate agents some weeks ago, and everything is still paper-based. And I recall that somebody tried to digitize their whole operation some years back. So I'm just curious, how are you doing things differently compared to every other person? Because I've not heard that. I've not heard that in any of your pitch. How your approach is different from what other people have done.
Hey, do we want to take? I think we should take all the questions, or do you want to answer each of the questions? Ola. Do you want to answer it that way, or you wait to get all of the questions? I think it's better to answer one question so you don't forget. Yeah.
So for us at my crib, what we are doing differently to tackle this issue, because we found out that it's an issue of trust. And so what we are currently doing is that we are in partnership with Redan and some other group of realtors and agents. And also beyond that is we're also developing our own realtors community. Currently, we have over 1,500 agents in that community. And these are the typical everyday agents that you find on the streets. And we are educating those people and helping them break that trust issue, because what they believe is that technology is coming to come and replace them. But we are making them understand that we've built this for you. In fact, on my crib, the average agent or even realtor do not need to create a website for themselves, because on my crib, they have a listing portal where every property that an agent has uploaded can be shown on a single page. So instead of you going physically or going to go and meet somebody to go and present all of your listing, you can just copy your link and send it to your prospects, and then they can view all of your listings and say, okay, this is the one that I'm interested in. And then they can even go into it, see the apartment in detail, and then get back with you and book that apartment with you. So we've built my crib basically for the agents, and we are doing a very good job at educating the system and educating the industry as well too. So yeah.
Great. For Domot, I think one of the things that sets us apart is the fact that we built it from the perspective of the property management companies. We are not building it from the perspective. Most of our competitors are looking at it from the tenants and the residents' point of view, but we're building ours for the property management companies because they are the ones that are building they're the developers, they're the ones that are building those buildings and where we're going to live. So because of that, our solution is able to scale to the demands of the property management companies. Whether you're building your company is building 5 units or 10 units, or you're building thousands of properties. Like I mentioned, we one of the partnerships we'll be going into where our platform is adaptable for that, which is something that you do not get with our competitors in Africa. They're usually meant for smaller units, and when it comes to scaling, it just doesn't scale accordingly. And also, and I think and one of the great things that we have is also our AI as well. There's a lot that goes into property management, and our AI is able to help you be able to tell you what it is that you need to do. We are the only ones that have that ability to have a product that actually does that. And also, another aspect that we have to also factor in is the people that are involved in the company as well. So someone like me that I already have deep expertise and I've built a lot of solutions as well, and I already that has deep industry knowledge as well. So we are building, constantly listening to the ability to be able to constantly adapt to the needs of the industry. And this is why in a short period of time, the reception to our product has already been great. We've already won the PropTech Company of the Year by Radar 2025. We won that last month. PropTech Company of the Year, and we already won a Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. We were a PropTech Company of the period Silver. So we know the needs of the property management companies, and we are building solutions that meet those needs head on.
Yeah, thank you. Wim, do you have any comments?
No, no.
Okay. So let's hear from Bola Tito and Oluwatofumi. Now, see if there are any questions in the chat.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hi,
Thank
good
you, Ola,
afternoon.
for your presentations. So I had two questions, one for my crib and one for Domot. For my crib, this is somewhat tied to or related to what Uem brought up earlier about the real estate sector being heavily traditional, informal, if you will. And then in your pitch, you mentioned doing I guess tenant background check or tenant verification. So I'm curious how you get certain information. For example, I think I saw something about previous rent history. And considering that the sector has not been digitized for that long or barely been digitized, how do you get data like that for renters on your platform? And then for Domods, I was curious what pricing tier generates the most revenue for you guys.
Okay. Your question is around how do we generate the information that we give back to users during the tenant verification. So now what we are currently doing is that we are in partnership with a company who runs the background check. These people, they have the database of almost every Nigerian. And so with the BVN and other information, we are able to generate information that is close to reality, let's say about 95% correct. Now, for the rental history, yes, we also understand that the industry has not been digitized. So what we are currently doing with our own AI system is to keep a record of each tenant's verification that we are doing to start taking that background check on their what's it called, on the history. So we are now beginning to document the history of everybody, and we strongly believe that within the next 1 year or thereabouts, it's going to become a full-fledged feature that can help people make informed decisions. So yeah, that's what we're currently doing, and our partners are also beginning to also take such notice of such information. And then also in partnership with Lagos State governments, we have a system also that is beginning to record such information. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and regarding the question you asked regarding the tier that makes the most money, it's for us is at the moment is the first tier, which is 1 to 100 units, which is 1,500 naira a unit. That is the most popular at the moment, because when we started, we were targeting smaller real estate companies, just so that we could make sure that we're building it properly. We have one real estate company, Dapolaya, that has 450 units. So that's our biggest client at the moment. So they are the only ones that are on the second band. But and you also mentioned something about the real estate sector being, and especially in Africa, being in Nigeria, being very, very traditional. It is. So right now that we started our marketing, the client acquisition times are very, very long. The bigger the real estate company, bigger the property management company, the longer it's going to take. And one barrier is the fact that with a property management solution, the reason why we have not been able to in Africa have a name that becomes a household name, that, or even in Nigeria where someone can say, oh, this is the company I'm going to use, to this is the name synonymous with property management, is because of the difficulty and the amount of the intricacy in terms of the amount of moving parts that the application needs to have. So you're basically telling a company, remove the way you operate your company, scrap that. Move everything onto a platform. We're not talking about one small vertical in your entire operation. So what about if the application is buggy? What about if the user interface, the user experience is very, very bad? What about if the startup fails, for example? So you then have to now the company pretty much is there a reputational damage to them. So they now have to be the ones to go and contact their tenants or whoever and tell them, oh, the way we're working now, this digital solution, it just doesn't work. We now have to go back to our old ways of working. So because of that, right now we are in the process, and I always using slow capital. We are in the process where we are having great relationships with companies and taking them along the journey, showing them that we are around, we are okay, we're not moving anywhere. This is our product. We're constantly building new solutions. And because of that, we're now beginning to start having conversations with people that we're talking to 6 months ago. Like, oh, okay, we're seeing that you guys have been releasing more features. You're sending us emails. We're seeing it. And now we're having the conversations that we're having right now is we're putting Domot into our 2026 budget. We're putting Domot in our 2026 budget. So right now, Band A is the most important one, but we expect that in the next year, that it's going to move on to Band B or even potentially Band C as we start engaging with bigger companies.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's Oluwatofunmi. And should be in the panelists. Do they have questions? Hi, a lot of me. I don't think they are here.
I do have one more question for both of them. Each of them have touched on it slightly, but it'd be nice to hear something more concise. What needs to go right for my crib and Domot to play out the way you have envisioned it?
Sorry, I didn't quite get the question.
What needs to
You
go right
said,
for Domot to hit your goals that you are, or become that ideal company that you have envisioned in your head?
Okay, just to be clear that I got your question, you said what needs to go right for my crib to become the company that we envision,
Correct.
right? Okay. Yeah, I think what needs to go right, number one is the adoption. Majority of realtors, they are still scared. They are still scared of technology. They are still quite afraid of tech because everybody has been screaming AI is coming to replace you. So they are also echoing that. And so they need to begin to embrace technology. And then also on the user side of things is also the fact that users also need to begin to trust the things that they see online because they've experienced platforms where they've seen things online in picture and then they get to the apartment and then they find another thing entirely. So it breaks the trust. And so for what needs to go right for us is basically agents trusting the platform, users also trusting us, and everybody just having better adoption in terms of, yeah, having better market adoption. I think that's it for us.
Okay, for me, what I heard was what needs to go live for, I'm not sure
right.
if
Right,
What needs to go
right,
right?
right.
go right. Oh, what needs to go right? Okay. For us, we've built the product. We've been building for 18 months, and it's all about trust and educate and education as well. Although is completely right, there's a lot of distrust regarding technological solutions out there right now because so many of them have come and gone. And that is one of the biggest barriers that we also are facing. So it is a situation about constantly educating the sector in regards to the solutions that are out there and what we have built as well. Continue working with our clients and ensuring that what we are building is pretty much product market fit. The application has fantastic security and all, and then let our clients at the end of the day start being our biggest spokespeople. And I think once those kind of factors start coming in, the adoption will start to resonate across the industry. So for me, I'm a big advocate for the property technology space in terms of what Rentiful, MyCrib, everyone is building here. I believe that we all need to succeed. We all need to build great products. And the more we keep building great solutions, then the more people will be ready to adopt digital solutions in here. Because where we are in PropTech is exactly where FinTech was years ago. It was no one was willing to take that risk. And all of a sudden now, FinTech is everywhere. Everyone now trusts those systems that are in place. So right now, that's where we are about building great products with great user interface and great experience with fantastic security and winning one customer out from after another. And from there, that is how we're going to win.
Yeah, thank you, Hildred. Thank you very much for the response. So I don't know if anyone else ask questions, has any questions. So yeah, I think we can go straight into the fireside chats. We're going to have a fireside chat, just like I mentioned, with Olajide, and it's going to be moderated by Daniel. And the fireside chat is titled From Manual to Digital, Lessons from a Builder's Journey into Technology-Driven Construction. Sorry, not a fireside chat, it's a Q&A rather, between Olajide Ademola, who's the CEO and MD of Sapiro Project, and Daniel Chinube, an associate at Antler. So, yeah, I think we can have them. Hi, Olajide. Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Mbalaji.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Hi, Olajide.
Hi, Mbalaji.
Yeah, I can hear you. So over to the both of you to kick things.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Mbolaji, for doing this. Hi, everyone. My name is Daniel, an associate at Antler Africa, where we help early stage founders go further faster. Super excited today to have a Q&A with Olajide Ademola from Sapia Project and just asking questions about building Sapia Project, his background so far, and just take a couple of questions from people in the audience. If you can hear me okay, just put a quick 100 thumbs up so I can engage the energy here in the room.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, great, awesome, guys. Great, awesome, great. So Jide, take us back to your background. Give a brief overview about what you're building with Sapio Project and how you came about the idea, and yeah, just a quick intro.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to this platform. My name is Olajide Ademola. Let me know if you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So my name is Olajide Ademola, and I lead the team at Sapir Project, SAPIR. We are a construction company with a background in architecture, and we also develop product, housing products, not software products, housing products. We sell real estate. That's what I mean. So I have a background in architecture, and I've been around for over, it will be 2 decades next year. That I've been in the industry for. I've been in the industry for some time, so I've experienced pretty much of the traditional period, also the digital age where we currently are, and hope to be part of the future, the AI future in construction as well. In Nigeria, we haven't really gone that deep when it comes to adopting some of these digital tools and the cutting edge technology available worldwide in construction. But we've done pretty well. We are moving with the pace of the industry. Largely, every industry is motivated and pushed by the financial system backing it. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, it's not that robust when it comes to the financial system backing it. So let me go back to my core conversation, which is surrounding the construction. The questions. So your
Yeah,
questions are a
so
bit
the first
different
question was
from.
just more. Can you hear me? Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
go
so much
ahead.
for that intro. I think the first question I had was looking at your background, from having a master's in architecture, you joined Globalcom, from there you started your own agency, then you moved to Sapia. What was that process like in terms of what gaps did you see in the market that you had to build Sapia projects?
All right, thank you very much. So personally, I'm a very energetic person. Getting things done, it's like natural to me. If I have a task to do, my focus is always how to get it done and how to get it done quickly. And you understand that in construction, there are 3 major parameters that sets or that defines the success of any project: the quality of the project, the speed at which the project is completed, and also working within the budget that is outlined from the beginning for the project. So these 3 parameters work hand in hand. When one of these parameters is one of these parameters is lacking, when one of them is lacking, then it affects the two other ones. And lately, the fourth parameter has also been added, which is the energy efficiency of a building. So let me just speak. So traditionally, graduating from the School of Architecture, so what gravitated me towards setting up Sapia project was the fact that I don't like to say this, but people see architecture was primarily a practice, not a business. So you will find our elders in the industry, they worked for several number of years. And at the end of the day, they can't match or they can't live the minimum lifestyle a financial consultant or somebody in the fintech or the financial industry lives, or somebody in the other sectors, that are moving. So there is that I didn't appreciate that. So gradually, so from there, I began to think about how can we turn architecture into a business, not just a practice. When you meet a traditional architect, the first thing, and the way we were groomed in school also affects the way we also work in the marketplace. The practice conditions you to be a professional. You are so tight-fisted, you are so traditional in the way you achieve things. But the world does not appreciate people that are not dynamic in the way they do things. Whether you are building a business or whatever you're doing, you must be dynamic. You must move with the time. So there was that disconnect. I didn't like what I was saying. So when I got the opportunity to work in Glow, primarily it was about achieving set target. And I remember the chairman would say in those days, "Oh, we want 100 sites to be live," and these 100 sites could be in 20 different locations across Lagos, because I was the team lead for Lagos at some point, and they needed to be achieved. So there was that push, and one thing that I began to use as a tool then to make my work easy, because it's not until you jump on the road and you're running the traffic in Lagos that you are seen to be efficient. I remember in those days, for me to acquire a site, I would go to Google. I'm talking about a couple of decades. I'll go to Google and get the coordinate from a separate department and put it on Google. So before I even leave my office, I've already seen how the location looks like. I've already seen the things that can happen in achieving the task. So from there, when I left, so after a while, I was tired of the 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or 9 to 10 as it was. And I felt that, and from there, we're beginning to get, I was personally beginning to get brief. Oh, I wanted to do this. I'm having this issue with my contractor. I don't have visibility on what I'm spending on the project. I'm having cost overrun. There were these issues I was hearing from people, and I felt that. So I partnered with one of my partners. Then we set up a business. It didn't work out before I went solo, and we founded the Sapia project.
Great, great. I really love the point you raised about the business of architecture rather than just running it as in practice. That's a super important point. And at one point, because you've been on both sides of the construction industry, you've done the normal traditional process of just running that practice of construction, and now you're tilting towards the tech-driven, like you mentioned earlier, the cutting-edge solutions in the construction industry. At what point, particularly in your career, did you start to rethink that, oh, this is what we need to build out in terms of, and how do we catch up to where other players are globally? How do we make Nigerian construction industry get to that point where other players are digitally?
Okay, so there's this common phrase, and so when they are referring to a particular a particular set of people currently, I don't know. I want to be very careful. Gen Z. So what sets the Gen Z apart? There is a usual word, which is convenience. So we are in the age of convenience. Everybody wants to do things in a very convenient way. we are in an age where people want to do things with less pressure, with less stress. And that's the age we are. The world has gone ahead. I mean, the world outside of Nigeria has gone ahead to perfect or to keep, optimizing the systems in such a way that things are done with less stress. And you will agree with me, construction in Nigeria is stressful. And it's stressful for so many reasons. From the point of conception, where a client has a vision, and that vision, he wants to implement that vision. And he wants to build that vision, but he doesn't even know how to go about it. In other words, in other climates, there are ways that you can just go to the internet and say, okay, I want to build a product in Victoria Island, because I've seen a problem where people need to, young people need to, or people that have good jobs, they have the money to pay, but they don't have, good apartment to live in Victoria Island. They still have to go to probably Ogudu or Lekki Phase 1, but people just want to live close to their job. So I have a vision to build something for them. I have seen a land in Victoria Island, but I don't even know the next step to take. Is there any digital solution that can help for me without having to talk to Olawale or Chibueze to say that, oh, okay, I go online, I check this is the land. There's what we call geographical information system that gives you the information about a physical asset, a physical land somewhere. So is there any possibility in Nigeria for me to access that information right from the desk of my table in my office or in my bedroom? I'm just waking up from my sleep. I just pick up my system and I check, okay, I have a land. So before I even start talking to an architect. So from that point, when you start talking to an architect, is my conversation stressful, or is my vision giving me more stress rather than helping me to solve a problem? So what we do, what we do, and what we're also trying to do is to make sure that, for example, let me use the people in diaspora. We've got a couple of clients in diaspora. One major issue they have is trust. And that trust has to do with the fact that they have fragmented information on everything. If they talk to 10 people about what they want to do in Nigeria, they want to build a story building, or they want to build a multi-unit apartment in Nigeria. If they talk to 10 people, they are going to have 10 different information. There is no central pool of information where they can take a proper decision. And at the end of the day, because those people that live outside Nigeria, they work in systems that are so planned out, they plan their finances, they plan virtually everything. So what we do, let me not totally digress. What we do is that from the point you have that dream to the point where we are able to analyze your dream from both financial part to the if whether that dream is realistic in the first place. So we give you that sort of comfort. Presently, we use the available tools, the available tools, but we are hoping that as things progress, as the PropTech industry, as the PropTech industry becomes bigger and there are more optimized solutions, we are able to also adopt one of those solutions and use. So presently we use the available, platforms available. So we talk to them. In fact, we go to the extent of giving them access to our cameras on site for them to see the progress of their constructions. We give them like a project management with their timelines, a project manager, what to expect at this stage when you need to release money, and we do that for them. And I don't know whether you're going to still ask that question. Maybe I should just quickly run over them. So, for example,
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Also, okay, yeah, got it. Because of time, I think I was informed that I have just 2 more minutes left. Let me just wrap this. But let's just look into the future. What impact do you think AI, automation, and as we accelerate technological progress, what impact do you think, what will be the biggest impact on the continent in terms of the construction efficiency in Africa?
Okay, so the AI industry is still growing, especially in Nigeria, and it will keep growing. The first sector that often, the first sector that often adopt such technology is usually the fintech. So I follow the fintech a lot. I follow them a lot, and even when they get it right, it cascades to other sectors like construction, because everything originates from that part. So what's the impact of AI in the construction industry in Africa? It's a lot. We have a huge problem in Nigeria, and the problem is not just the. Oftentimes, if you talk to 20 people, and I've been hearing this for the past 3 months, if you ask them what's the shortfall of housing supply in Nigeria, they will tell you 17 million housing units, and you've been hearing that for the past 4 or 5 years. Are you saying that that figure hasn't changed? Because if I've been hearing that in the last 10 years, normal math should tell you that that figure should have gone to 30 something, but we don't have that information. And why is it that we don't have that information? So there are several disconnected parts. Before we even start talking about the impact of AI, we need to start talking about how we are able to structure our data in the industry first. Because AI doesn't rely on, AI relies on data to function properly. We don't have the data yet to even, take a proper decision or to confront the housing problem in Nigeria. So let's first start talking about how we can structure our data in Nigeria first, before we start. For example, if you approach Lagos State government today and you want to get the data, maybe you want to invest in the mortgage finance system in Nigeria, and you want to just say that how many people buy, how often do people get registration for construction? I'm not sure they have that information. And I'm not sure there's any private firm in Nigeria that has that information. So my take is always that we need to first work on our data in the construction industry first, or in the housing industry, before we start talking about how, because AI does not function by itself. It crosses to the internet, it crosses to the available data to help you make a decision. So I feel that we need to address that. Then when we deploy any AI tool in the industry, then it will be useful, and the feedback you're going to get from such AI solutions will be something precise and accurate, because it's very frustrating when you think you've adopted a solution, an AI solution that is working on fragmented data, or that is working on data that can't be proven. So that's just my take, and let me stop there.
Yeah, great. That's a great way for us to ask people in the audience if they have questions. You could drop it in the Q&A for D-Day. I think one question I have too, like, you've been building for close to 2 decades now, like you mentioned. What advice do you have for PropTech founders in the room today? A couple people pitched earlier. What hard lessons have you had to learn building cyber projects and other things that you've been involved in the construction and property industry?
Okay, so I like the phrase somebody gave. I think it's Domot, and he said that one platform, one source of truth. One platform, one source of truth. That's very key. And truth is something that builds trust. When your solution cannot be trusted, and I'm not just talking about whether it's efficient, where your solution cannot be trusted, what's the perception of people towards that solution? When your solution cannot be trusted, then it will not be adopted. And when it's not adopted, I'm not sure you'll be able to optimize or invest more or get more investors in that. The second one is that there are several solutions out there. What sets your solution apart? Remember, we are in the age of convenience. From onboarding, from getting me onboarded to your solution, if it's stressful for me, I get irritated. Not like I get irritated. I just realized that because I need to pick up, for example, if I need a quick cash from GT Bank, I go to Quick Credit. I don't know whether a lot of people use GT Bank, and I'm sorry for saying GT Bank. I go to Quick Credit in a space of 5 minutes. If I quickly need 5 million naira, maybe my money in Stanbic Bank is locked because of their end of the month issue, and I need 2 million, 5 million naira. quick credit within 3 minutes gives me a solution. So I'm in a way stuck with them. For construction, if I need to, and I've said this to somebody before, one major thing that affects the profit of construction is procurement. And procurement is also an avenue where a lot of fraud do take place. If I want, as an executive, if I need to check the market for the price of tile today, I still have to call the market. I still have to pick up my phone. But can I access your solution in such a way that I have competitive prices of the price of a particular product from different vendors in the market without having to go to Gigi? If I'm using your facility management solution, is there any point where a resident needs to call us to say that this thing, I don't know how to use it? What is the problem? Why are you people giving me stress? Remember, convenience is what you are selling to people. And if you're from the point of onboarding to the user interface to how the product works, if it doesn't speak convenience, then you need to probably rework the solution. Thank you.
Got it. I see Mobolaji here to kick me out. But yeah, thank you so much, Jide, for taking our time to chat with the founders, to share your experience building Sapia project. Thank you for solving hard problems in the construction industry. And yeah, that's all for now.
Thank you,
Hey, guys.
Daniel. Thank you, Olajide. Really enjoyed the conversation between the both of you. So we'll just go straight into it. You have two more demos and question and answer before we listen to Mr. Tola Kinselere. So the next startup here is Everything Property. I hope Defa is on the call so we can just get straight into it. Hi, Defa.
Hello,
Oji?
hello, I'm on the call.
Yeah, so floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tefa Daniel, the Chief Technology Officer at Everything Property. So just to confirm if everyone can hear me, can anyone that can hear me just react, give a thumbs up or
Yep,
in the
we
chat
can hear you.
section. Sorry?
We can hear you.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so just, give a thumbs up or, in the comment section, you can see Everything Property. Also, just to confirm, everyone can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, then. So, okay, once again, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tifa Daniel, and I'm from Everything Property. And I'm here to talk about our beautiful product. Our product is a product that addresses one of the most important problems that has plagued humanity. So throughout human existence, there's always been the issue of shelter. From the times that human beings lived in caves to thatch houses to now that we live in skyscrapers. And there's been the issue of, shelter, how to get access to shelter, affordable housing, affordable homes. And we at Everything Property, we have a solution for that problem. And, the thing with real estate is something that is a part of everybody's life. It's one of those things that even if you say you're not interested in real estate is interested in you because you live in a house, you go to work in a building, places of worship, are in a building. Everything you do, happens on real estate, happens on land, happens in a building, happens in a house. And we at Everything Property built a beautiful product that addresses the various challenges that the different players in the real estate space are facing. And then in the Nigerian real estate market, what is the challenge? So I'd say the challenge in the Nigerian real estate market is that the Nigerian real estate market is broken. Broken in the sense that the different players in the real estate market have a number of pain points, and no one is really addressing or completely solving all these pain points. So there are a number of players in the real estate market in Nigeria and then globally. So we have property seekers, we have property agents or brokers, we have owners of properties or landlords, we have property developers, we have real estate companies. And each of these players, have a number of pain points and challenges. And I'm going to talk about some of these challenges. So for property seekers, one of the major challenges they're having is the issue of trust. So today you're looking for a property, you have to reach out to a friend that knows a friend that knows a friend who give you maybe the contact details of an agent that they know. And then, you schedule an inspection, you go to have a look at the property, you pay inspection fees. And then, if it's a property that you don't really like, you have to repeat that process over a number of properties. So you're looking for a house of, just to rent a property of 2-3 million naira, and then you're spending tens of thousands multiple times in inspection fees across multiple properties. And then, there's even the issue of trust with brokers because, there are times when you go to look at a property, it's a property that's even been rented out, but because the broker wants the viewing fee, the 10K, 15K that you pay, they take it to that property. So there's the issue of trust, property seekers, face the challenge of, fake listings, high agency legal fees, multiple inspection fees, and there are a lot of hidden costs. You want to rent a property, you go and look at the property, the broker tells you that in addition to paying inspection fees, you also have to pay their transport. So there are a lot of, challenges that seekers face that are quite painful. And brokers, on the other hand, also are facing challenges in terms of, access to, serious leads, serious seekers who want properties. Another problem that property brokers or agents are facing is the problem of duplicate listings. So there are a number of real estate platforms or PropTechs in Nigeria, and then, you have to list your properties across all these platforms. So let's say you're a broker who has 100 listings or 200, properties that you're sort of managing. You have to list this across 5-6 different platforms. You have to download mobile apps of, 5-6 different platforms, go to their websites. It's just a very, very stressful process. And even though it's your job, it's just a very, very stressful process. There's no way of, verifying the identities of the people who you're transacting with. And it just becomes a very cumbersome process. Property owners also face a number of challenges. So for instance, there isn't really a platform or a solutions provider, in Nigeria that has a product or a feature that addresses owners or landlords. So if you're a landlord and you want to list a property and, you want to deal directly with your potential tenants, so you don't want to have to go through brokers or agents, you want to deal directly with your potential tenants, you want seekers to see you directly and deal with you directly. There isn't really a platform that gives you that visibility. And same way for seekers also, you're a seeker and you want to have direct access to the future landlord, the future landlord or even the owner of the property that you want to buy. There isn't really that platform that gives you direct access, to property owners. And then, at the end of the day, it just becomes the wild, wild west where everybody, it becomes an information battle. You have to talk to somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. So there's not really a platform that aggregates all of this and solves all these problems all in one. And we are everything property. We talk about these different pain points because even in our experience, we as individuals have experienced some of these challenges. And we decided to build a product that addresses these problems and solves it for everyone. And the solution, of course, is everything property. So we solve these different problems and these pain points through a number of features that we have. So for seekers and brokers, the first thing we do is address the issue of trust. And we do that, first by verifying the identities of, the users on our platform. So every user on everything properties identity is verified. You do a first level KYC where, you have to update your valid government documents, so your credentials, so things like either your driver's license, your NIN, international passports, just to verify your identity so that at the end of the day, there is an identity trail for everybody. So everything that happens, on everything property is not just anonymous individuals dealing with one another. There's an identity trail for people. And if anything goes wrong at any point, to a certain degree, you can, trace, where this started from and who exactly you dealt with. So the first thing we do is, verification of identity of seekers and brokers. So we vet everybody to significantly reduce, the risk of fraud. The second thing, that we do at Everything Property, or the second feature we built, is an escrow for inspection fee payment. So we noticed that for property seekers, of course, there are a lot of hidden fees. You want to see a house, for rent or buy a house. There are hidden fees like inspection fees. The broker wants you to pay their transport, or you get to the venue, you don't like what you see, or it turns out to be a listing that, has been rented out and the person just wants viewing fee. So we solved that problem, by having an escrow system. So from the point you see thing that you like and you schedule an inspection or a viewing, the inspection fee is held in trust by Everything Property until that inspection is complete. So your interest as a seeker is protected because if anything goes wrong, your money gets returned to you. And then as a broker, of course, your interest is also protected in the sense that by the time you successfully show the potential seeker or the potential buyer the property, and there becomes the haggling issue, you are not even in a situation where you have to start negotiating and saying, my inspection fee is 10,000 or 15,000 naira. We sorted out that problem because the money is already held in trust. So if everything goes well, the money gets remitted to you. There's no negotiation or trying to negotiate at the point where the viewing has taken place. Another issue, that another pain point, that I mentioned earlier that we address is the issue, of duplicate listings across multiple platforms. So if you're a property seeker, you're looking for properties, you have to download multiple apps, talk to multiple people across multiple platforms to access, brokers. If you're a broker also, you need to download multiple apps, sign up on multiple platforms in order to upload the hundreds of listings that you have. And at Everything Property, we thought about that and said, you know what, in addition to building a website and a mobile app, to help people list properties and connect seekers with brokers, we decided to also create a WhatsApp chatbot. So basically, from the comfort of WhatsApp, without having to download a new app or going to a website, from the comfort of WhatsApp, the same WhatsApp that you used to chat with your family, friends, business partners, you can say hello to our WhatsApp chatbot. If you're a seeker, you can say hello, register on Everything Property from the comfort of WhatsApp while on WhatsApp. Tell our chatbot, the dimensions or the descriptions of the property you're looking for. You're looking for a 3-bedroom duplex in Lekki. Our WhatsApp chatbot would go through our database of listings, find what you're looking for, and show it to you on WhatsApp. And then, of course, if you're a broker, without having to download our app to upload your listings from the comfort of WhatsApp, say hello to our WhatsApp chatbot and send it pictures of the listings you have, and it's automatically uploading on our system. And then also, if you're a seeker and then, the property you're looking for, you can't find it, we have a request feature whereby you can say, this is what I'm looking for, this is a description of what you're looking for. And then all the brokers on our system will get notified. So they get notified via in-app notifications, email, and then they get notified on WhatsApp. So we've made it very, very easy and very, very convenient for the different user types. So if you don't want to go through the stress of having 6-7 apps on your phone just to upload properties and access seekers from the comfort of WhatsApp, we've basically brought it very close to you. The third thing we've done also is owner accounts. So we've created a mechanism whereby as a landlord or as a property owner, you can deal directly with potential seekers. So we have a section on our platform for property owners where you can upload your listings. If you're a landlord, you're looking for tenants, you can upload your house, and then seekers can see you and deal with you directly. So if you're a seeker and you don't want to have to deal with agents and the hidden fees that come with brokers, you want to deal directly with owners, we've created a mechanism connecting both parties together. And the result of this is a safer ecosystem, where seekers can find genuine homes and owners can gain more control on their properties. I'm sure if this was a physical presentation, at this point, I would have said you should clap for Everything Property, for looking through the different pain points and building something that addresses the different challenges that all the players in the real estate space face. Now, the market opportunity, of course, Nigeria has, a 30 trillion naira market, real estate market, and with a 0.2 to 0.5 percentage penetration rate, we at Everything Property hope to get a market share of about 10 to 20 million dollars annually. And we have a number of streams that we plan or we've optimized to gain revenue from. So these include gaining subscription revenue. So we have, in addition to the general features that everyone can use, we have unique features that subscribing to being on one of our subscription model allows you to have access to. And then also we gain commissions off the inspection or viewing fees that are paid. So if you use our escrow, system that makes it a lot safer for you to deal with agents, we get a 10% commission of those transactions. And then we also have developer ads. So because of the number of eyeballs that we have on our site and our mobile app, we also do a bit of ads whereby if you're a business person and you want to promote your business on everything property, we have banner ads that cater to that. And then mortgage and insurance partnerships. So beyond allowing seekers or connecting seekers with brokers or landlords or property developers, we also have mortgage and insurance partnerships that allow our users have access to mortgage facilities and insurance facilities. So beyond allowing you find a property or rent a property, insuring that property to further protect yourself, we have features that allow for that. And of course, mortgage facilities, making it more easy, making it more flexible for you to access properties. So you don't necessarily need to have, the entire money, especially with, how expensive properties have become. You don't necessarily have to have the entire money. With mortgage facilities and partnerships that we have, it makes it a lot easier for you. So far, we've been able to gain a level of traction since we went live. So far we have over 5,600 active users on the platform. That's a combination of seekers, a combination of property brokers, agents, a combination of developers, and of course, companies. Everything combined together, we have about 5,600 plus of those on our platform. We hope to significantly scale that next year to over 30,000 registered users on our system. We also have currently 2,000 plus active listings, on our system across 20 states in Nigeria. We hope to significantly scale those next year to 75,000 plus active listings, and of course cover the entire 36 states of Nigeria, including the FCT. Currently, we have about 25,000 monthly impressions. So those are the eyeballs, people who come to look on our website, people who visit the site to have a look, including those who register, those who don't register. And of course, these eyeballs are, what we monetize in terms of ads for people who want to promote their business. I hope to scale that significantly to 150,000 plus unique site visits and, unique visitors that will come to our platform. Currently, we have our cost of sign up, or our cost per sign up as 2,500. So that's the approximate amount it costs us to market and onboard our users, and we hope to bring that down next year to less than 1,000 naira. The investment till date is about $50,000, which is roughly 75 million naira. We hope to raise $250,000 in order to significantly scale our operations. And we're currently pre-revenue and plan to significantly and intensively begin monetization in 2026. Now, like I said earlier, everything property is live across 4 user touchpoints. So we have a website where all our features are live and available. We have a mobile app, so you can download our app, if you don't want to access it via the website. We have a WhatsApp chatbot. So from the comfort of WhatsApp, without having to download a new app, if it's too inconvenient for you, if you have too many apps on your phone, if it's too stressful to leave WhatsApp, we have a WhatsApp chatbot that allows you to do basically everything that you could do on the mobile app or on the website from the comfort of WhatsApp. And then we have an analytics dashboard. So beyond being a PropTech or real estate marketplace, we are also an intelligence company. So it's not just enough that we have thousands of users and thousands of brokers uploading listings. We do a bit of analytics of these in order to help decision making even for brokers. So one of those is what I talked about earlier, where if a seeker comes on the platform and they search for a property and they don't find what they're looking for, they can make a request. So I'm looking for a self-contained apartment in Maitama, they can make a request for that. And if you're a broker around Maitama axis or even in Abuja, you get notified. So at the end of the day, it makes your work a lot better because you're not just listing random properties, you're listing properties that seekers are actually looking for. So, we do a bit of intelligence and analytics. And
Sorry, Tafa, just a quick time check. We have about 40 more seconds for your presentation.
Wow. Okay. Okay, then, so let me just briefly go to our website so we can just have a sneak peek of the product. So I'm not just talking about what we have done or what we have built, but, everyone can see it. So this is what our website looks like. At the top, you can see a banner ad, of, someone who is advertising the property they have for sale. And then as a seeker, you can see featured properties. So these are properties by different brokers on the system in different parts of Nigeria. And then if you like any of these properties, you can click on the property and then schedule a viewing. We also have a request feature whereby if you don't find what you're looking for, you can request and have a look at the property. And then let me just log in as a broker. So if you're a broker and you are using our system, beyond having to list the properties that you have, we have an analytics dashboard where you can basically have access to property requests that have been made. So these requests, that you can see here, are live requests that have been made by users for properties that they are looking for. So you can see that even as of today, someone requested for a property in Lugbe, requests across Nigeria, Abeokuta, Obiako, in Rivers State. And so as a broker, you're not just, randomly listing properties, you're actually listing what seekers are looking for. So making, it more seamless and better for you. So here I talk about our growth strategy, how we plan to achieve the numbers we talked about earlier in Q1 of 2026, how we plan to grow our user base from over 5,600 to over 75,000. So we plan to achieve that by event sponsorship and influencer marketing. We also plan to execute broker storm activation, so physically meeting agents, going to communities where, agent communities, agent groups online, interacting with them and, activating them on everything property, sponsoring events, PropTech events where agents come together and telling them about everything property. And then, of course, influencer marketing to significantly grow our user base and, grow our location across the country.
Amazing,
And then,
amazing.
earlier,
Sorry, Ty,
sorry?
we do have to wrap up. Thank you so much. Do you have any final words? Any last quick thing you want to say? That we just have to wrap it up. Sorry.
Okay. I think the last thing I'll just say is to everyone listening, join us in building, Nigeria's most trusted real estate marketplace. So whether you're an investor, whether you are a seeker or a potential broker, sign up on Everything Property, say hello to our chatbot, and engage us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tefa. Thank you for your presentation. I know time is fast spent, but we have one more presentation and then a very, very interesting session from Mr. Tola Akinselere, the CCO at Mixta Nigeria. And I'm sure everyone would want to listen to an industry OG or expert. So I don't want to use the word OG, yeah, for a session later after Olalekan's presentation. So hi, Olalekan, over to you so we can take questions from investors and then we go straight to yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Mbalaji. Just a quick audio check here. Can you hear me? Am I good on audio?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining. From wherever you're joining, I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Again, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Olalekan. They call me Ola for short. I'm the CEO, co-founder for rentiful.ng. PropTech.ng, and I'm really excited to be here to share some of the great things we're working on. Rentiful, we're very early stage. We actually just launched earlier this month, but still thought it would be nice for us to share some of the things that we're working on. I think just a quick background around what we're solving for the issues, and like my co-presenter has always said, there's a common thing that we're seeing there. I think it started for me about 2 years ago. I think I was in Nigeria visiting and I wanted to get a shortlet, and I reached out to an agent. This agent actually knew my parents, so it was almost like, oh, we know them, we know we can trust them. So we told them what we wanted, and because of the trust that we had for them, we actually sent the payment upfront. Like, okay, you know what? I wanted this place for 3 weeks. This is the payment of me find the best that I could find. And then I'm getting there. Actually, I got there at night, and it was totally different from the pictures they had shared with me. And although it was a short let, only for 3 weeks, I could imagine if that was a long-term rent and I'm locked in and things like that. And that kind of like took me back a bit, like why for someone that we know that we could count family. So talk about someone that I don't even know at all, right? So I thought about that and was like, okay, maybe it's a one-off, maybe it's just me. I just had that bad luck that day, and that agent was just not having the best moment. So I didn't think much about it and left it alone. And then a few months after that, to just scrolling online, I started to see just stories. And I think for the most one is people making content from it, and it looks like fun. Oh, I went to this place, they promised me, hey, but look at what I got. And it seemed like people are just making content, but those videos kind of came up more and more, and I just felt like, oh, this kind of similar to what I experienced a couple of months ago. And it kind of said, oh, maybe this is not just a one-off. Maybe there's a problem here. So I kind of started talking to just friends, colleagues back home, and even just agents around, like, what's happening here? Is this something that because most of the video are just agent is not giving me what I wanted for, or they're asking me for, a special fee. I get there, it's completely different. So they're just taking my money and not giving me what I want. And just repeating this process a couple of times, multiple times, just like, oh, there is in fact a problem here, right? And then I'm just talking to people, and just some of the market research that we found was just there's a problem of trust, but this trust is not just one side. It's actually every part of the business, right? Either from tenant not trusting or even agent not trusting, because you ask an agent like, oh, why do you have to get your inspection fee up front? Because I don't know if they're going to show up or they're going to waste my time. Or if you ask the tenant, why are you not looking at this property? Why are you not going there? I don't even know if it's trusted and things like that. So something stood out from those conversations that those market research just around trust. And the second part is also around just time wasting, right? Go there, know what I'm looking for, you waste my time, or I book an appointment on my calendar as a broker, as an agent, I'm here waiting for the property, show up, right? So all of those things together, I was just like, okay, you know what? There is a problem that we're trying to solve here, and we want to make it as simple as possible. At the core of it, what we're solving for with Rentiful is trust and waste of time, right? So we thought, just on the things that we've done, we're able to build a platform where, it's just one system, you can get everything that you need, but just your source of truth, right? So, and that's how we build Rentiful. I'm going to show you some of the views that a tenant they're looking for apartment will see. Just again, registering on the system is very quick. We just ask for your name, email, phone number, and into the system, you can browse and use that system. But there's something here we have here just around getting started. It just gives you some of the things that you need, although not compulsory to start using the system, but it kind of gives you step by step what you need to get the best experience on our platform, right? So identity verification is very, very important. We want to make sure you are who you are, so people can trust your profile and trust that you're stepping to the real person and things like that. So you can start to search for listings. You can also submit applications on the platform. The manager, the property manager, or the agent or the landlord can also review your applications and things like that. You can book showing from the platform. But one thing that a bit different for us is the tenant resume that we have here. And I think one of the things that we found from tenants is just around, it's very, very powerful or stressful having to say, okay, you know what? Most of the time when you're looking for an apartment or a place to stay, you have to repeat the process almost like 10, 15 times just to get that one that you really like. And this starts even if you're lucky, right? But one of the things they complain about is, this one tells me something on application. I fill it for me, I don't even like it. I fill it for me. They're doing so many things in so many places where it might not even be what you really want. So one thing we've done is also created like a very specific tenant resume, similar to just a resume that you look for job. Is just around one, your profile, your verification, your income, your job history, and the guarantor, any of those things is one place. You put that information in one place called your tenant resume. And when you want to apply for applications, whether 1, 2, 3, or 50, 20, you're using the same one. You don't have to fill that information multiple times, which is saving you lots of time. Right? You don't have to go in and save my name. And these are things that don't change very often. So having to do that every time seems like a very stressful process for tenants. So we built a system where we ask people only once, and you can also update, sometimes it changes maybe every quarter, or something changed your job recently. You can update that, and your application paper will also keep the updated system. But the idea here is one place where you can put all your tenant resume, all the information that we need, your rental history, and the background, your income, and things like that. That way, when you're submitting an application, it's just as easy as I like this application, or I like this listing, click submit application, which is also right here on our system here. Right here, let me just move this circle right here. You just click on the button where it start application, you click on it, you click yes, and yes, it submits application for you without having to go through that process again over and over again. Right, and then one thing that I also want to call out, and I think one of the questions we had earlier around, right now in Nigeria and Africa, there's that traditional way of doing things, like that paper cabinet, open my file folder, found things, and it's kind of like the way we've been doing things. And we know, and I think it's not only real estate. I was actually speaking to a friend last week that runs a business in Nigeria to understand around, how he's trying to restructure things and trying to change things. And one of the questions I asked him was like, oh, how do you plan for next year? Like, how do you know when you're busy? What are your sales like? And like, oh, we just wait for it. And I'm like, no, that's not a business model. And the reason for that is everything's on paper. So for me to even know what sales I had last month or last December, to even plan for this coming December or next one, I got to dig through those information and things like that. So we understand there's that tradition of doing things, and we do want to change that, but we don't want to be abrupt about it, because right here, you have to kind of just go through what people are doing right now. So one of the things that we do today, for example, your rental history, your job is still doing some manual collection of data, right? So we'll call the landlord, the agent, we explain what we have, what we're trying to solve for, and we're just trying to verify that this person lives there from this place to that place, right? Although it's an hybrid approach, and that's manual, what we're doing from then onward is then taking that information, putting our own database, and digitizing for the future, right? So it could be in a place where even in like a year or 2 years, there are so many information and systems where other landlords or even other platforms can also come to us to verify all those rental insurance things. So that's one of the things that we've done is we understand people do traditional things back home, and we're meeting them at that, but we're also showing them, hey, these are the advantages, these are the things that you can do. You can save a lot of time just around digitizing all of these things that you have. So it's a gradual process, but we're getting there to make sure we're sticking to that nature of, hey, we know these are how you do things, but if you do this differently, these are the times you say, these are the future, or these are the advantages that you get from this, right? And these are some of the things that we're working on so far today. Another thing is just around application, right? If you have an application that you want to submit or a listing from the system to, we have options for landlords or agents or property managers to also upload videos, right? And that's one of the big things here. Just, I want to see the property, I want to see what it looks like before even going all the way there to book a showing or to see, right? That's one of the things that a lot of users also say, like, I really want to make sure when I look at the video and I get there, it's something like structure. So we have that process of just one, verifying all of the listings there, although you can list without being verified, but if it's verified, we'll call it out to users to let them know verified. We're also going to verify the agent. So it's almost like sometimes I've seen where we're focusing the verification on just the tenant. Right, what we want to do is just the entire ecosystem needs to be trusted, and with that it means the renter, the landlord, the agent, the property manager themselves, their companies need to all be verified. That way, we're building that one system where, hey, I can be sure that someone looking at my profile has also been verified, and this is not a fraudulent activity and things like that. So that's one of the things that we're doing. And again, you can use our platform without being verified, but as soon as you want to start, submitting an application, that's when we call out, hey, you need to make sure you're submitting the IDs to verify. And even for agents to also review or landlord to review your application, we also want to make sure they are verified before they can actually open your profile. So we want to make sure both sides are both verified there. In terms of application too, you can submit your application from the system directly if you want. Again, it takes your tenant resume, it sends it to the agent, and I'm going to drag the agent view. I don't know if folks can still see my screen. Let me just drag this here just to make sure everything I need. Good. Can you still see my screen? I'll make sure.
Yes, and we have 3 more minutes.
Yes, I will get it. Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for the time check there. So again, from a landlord agent point of view, very similar steps here just around verification identity, which is very important for your business, organization, for your real estate company. We're also verifying that, we're verifying your listing. People can also set your showings and availability. I think one of the biggest things around managing the showings that you have for the day. People just texting via WhatsApp and phone numbers. You can't even organize yourself. One of the things that was offering here is also an in-app scheduling system where you can set your availability and folks can also schedule viewing with you. And when they submit applications, you can also review it gives you what we also call rentiful trust score, right? So part of that is just your income. So the rent ratio, we verify for that for you. The employment history, we verify that for you. The rental history too, we verify that for you. So all of those things, we're going to show you as a manager or as a landlord, as an agent, to say, hey, here's person A, here's their profile, but here's all of the things that you need to make that informed decision, right? Because I want to make sure if I'm trusting this person, I want to make sure I can trust them 100%, right? So all of those things we'll give for you. There's other features that we also have around the suggest tenant platform where, just comfort level, right? How about you can find people that might be looking for things that you've listed already, right? So if I've listed 10 properties and I have tenants that have also indicated I'm looking for a property in Lagos, in 2-bedroom or 1,500 square feet or this price range, can also showcase that to you, which is a pro feature here. One of our ways to make money is also having some pro feature subscription models that we also have for the system, right? And also from the tenant side of things too, we also have a feature called matching, where again, maybe your lease is coming up and you're not renewing that lease, you're looking for a new place, or just even starting a new set from beginning. Well, rather than go through every page and every listing, we ask you a few questions of what you're looking for that will be ideal for you. And we look into our system, our database, and showcase that things that we think will match what you're looking for perfectly. And from then on, you can see, rather than going through hundreds of listings, there's only about 10, 15 listings that we think will be perfect for you. You can go through those, contact or submit an application directly from that platform. So those are some of the things that will be there. Again, we're very early stage. We just launched early this month. Again, rentiful.ng is the website. We're looking for everybody to join in and giving us your feedback and things like that. So again, that's my show today. Thank you again, NHN, for the opportunity, and thanks for everybody for listening to the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Olalekan. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. I think it's time for question and answer, and then once we're done, we just go straight to Mr. Tola's session. So Bola Tito is still in the panelist session, so we'll take Bola Tito's question and maybe one extra question from the audience. Please, you can type it in, and then we'll just take one question. You can just drop it in Q&A.
Okay. Thank you guys for the presentations. I don't think I have any question for rentiful, especially since it's still very early on. I don't know if you start seeing traction or any, I guess, new customer behavior that maybe you didn't plan for or accommodate in building the products. That would be an interesting insight to have if it exists. For everything property, I think one question that something I didn't quite understand, and I wanted clarity on, was the subscription plans. So I think I saw 5,000 to 1 million monthly. Could you please clarify what you mean there specifically? I didn't understand that aspect of it.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Should I answer that or after the next question is asked?
No, you can answer that.
Oh, okay. So thanks again once again for that question. So like I said earlier, we have different user types. So we have property seekers, we have brokers, we have developers, we have companies, we have landlords. So the different subscription tiers, they have benefits, and they vary for user types. So for seekers, of course, people who are looking to rent, of course, the subscription for them is significantly lower, and then the benefits they have access to is also significantly lower. So the cheapest tier, which is 5,000 naira monthly, is for seekers who are looking to rent properties within the range of 100,000 to 5 million naira. So if you are looking to rent properties within that range, in addition to using general features on the system, you get access to landlords who have properties that are in that price range. So a landlord who has listed the property for rent that the range falls between 100,000 and 5 million naira, your 5,000 naira a month subscription qualifies you or gives you access to see listings from that landlord. And then, of course, the more expensive tiers are for the other users. So users like property developers. So we have a feature that allows property developers. So people having estates, you have an estate with 1,000 houses, 100 houses. You want to upload that on the system, and an estate, of course, a project is treated differently from property listings. So people can see your project, they can see the hundreds of units you have, pictures of those units. And then, of course, as a developer, you would have sub-users under your account type. So you have different staff that can manage your account type. They can interact with seekers talking to you. So, of course, for these types of users who have larger projects and more expensive projects, so say a Brains and Hammers, for instance, you have 100 units of, 3-story duplexes costing 400 million each. The subscription you will pay, of course, will be significantly higher than that of a seeker. So that's why the subscription tiers exist for the different user types.
Okay, thanks very much for that. Another thing that I wanted to get some more clarity on too was on the traction side. You mentioned having, I think, 5,600 registered users, a combination of the different customer
User types.
Yeah.
Yes.
So could you give me a rough percentage or rough estimate of how many percentage each type is? So what percentage is seekers, brokers, developers?
Okay, so currently seekers make up the most percentage of users, about 37, 38 percent rather of our users are seekers. Then the next category is brokers. So brokers also fall around 29, 30%. And then developers and real estate companies. And then, of course, the smallest percentage currently are landlords.
Okay. All right, thank you. Last thing, sorry, before I go. So one of the things that jumps out at me, so considering that you mentioned that you have pre-revenue, right?
Yes. So all our features are free for all currently. Everyone is, on basically a free trial of the features for now.
Okay. So how do you ensure that when you transition to, I guess, a paid subscription, I'm assuming the free tier would be scrapped at some point. I could be wrong, please correct me. But when you want to scale or transition to like a paid subscription model, how do you intend to keep these 5,000 plus users?
Okay, so even when by the time we significantly start or properly start monetizing, there will still be free features available for everyone. So even without registering on the platform, you can go to our website, download our app, and you can have a general overview of listings. There, see pictures of listings. Of course, you don't have access to the brokers who have listed them or the landlords, but you can have a sneak peek of what the system is. If you register as a seeker, you can see certain things for free. So every free user has a limit to the number of landlords that you can see their listings for free, brokers who you can interact with for free. So there are going to be free features for everyone. But then, of course, for increased features, like for instance, access to more landlords so that you can deal directly with landlords, you have to pay for that. For brokers also, to list a lot of properties, a higher amount of properties. So there's a limit to the number of properties you can list for free. Once you want higher than that, of course, you have to pay. And then, of course, access to requests that seekers are making. So to get that data of, where seekers are looking for property, the types of property they are looking for, you have to pay for those. But then for the base features like listing 10, 20, 30 properties, interacting with seekers for those would remain free for everybody, even when we significantly monetize.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Balatito, for your questions. I want to check the Q&A if there are any questions there.
No,
Okay,
I think
so
we
Manis.
move over to the keynote, Mobulaji. We are going to take
Okay.
audience question, if not on the call, but as a follow-up for sure.
Okay. So thank you, Babatunde. So thank you everyone thank you to all the presenters. It's been a wonderful time speaking to you. To take us on the next stage or next section of this demo day, we have Mr. Tola Kinsolere for his keynote speech. Good afternoon, Mr. Tola. It's nice to have you here and listen to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon. I hope you all can see me.
Yes, we can see you
Okay,
and hear you clearly.
that's great. Okay, that's great. So let me share my slides. I hope you all can see my slides too.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yep.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been good listening to everybody. I really appreciate the level of work that a lot of the presenters have put into getting everything which they are saying right. And what I'm hoping to do during the course of my time with you guys is to try to be the pièce de résistance for everything we've been doing for today. And that's what my subtitle hopes to address: building PropTech businesses that actually move the needle on housing. You see, the biggest challenge, of course, I like some of the points that have been raised about the fact that at the moment, everybody seems to be talking more in terms of fintech. And maybe part of the problem is the fact that we have not been able to develop the kind of fintech that I hope would stimulate the kind of ideas I'm hoping we should be able to drive at during the course of today's conversation. In terms of how I'm going to align my conversation today, this is just a quick overview of it. The whole idea here is this: I want us to start thinking along the lines of how we can use tech to scale housing delivery and access, how we can use digital adoption to boost efficiency and to also strengthen investor confidence in our ecosystem. And when I'm talking about the ecosystem, I'm talking about the housing ecosystem. And really, by the end of everything, I'll try to put everything together with a neat bow by providing a simple framework that founders and investors can use as a basis for thinking and looking at the future of what sort of impact we want to create. Before we go further, there are some basic things that I think I just want us to admit. Every one of us here, we have a role that we play within the course of the ecosystem. And that's the way in which I'm framing my conversation. I'm framing it on the premise that, look, everybody has an important role to play within this ecosystem. And there are certain things that are unique about our ecosystem. There are three hard realities that we all engage with every day. There's the land and infrastructure, there's capital and risk, and then, of course, there's trust and customer experience. When we talk about land and infrastructure, it's important to always remind ourselves that the housing sector is not just about units. It's about ownership. It's about title. It's about how that title is transferred seamlessly. It's about providing that level of comfort that allows that transfer to happen. Whether it's a temporary transfer in terms of allowing use of ownership, there's an infrastructure that comes with it, the infrastructure that enhances that value. There are approval processes that go through that whole thing. It's very much important that, look, when we think along the lines of what PropTech is going to deliver, we need to think in the lines of how land or property is acquired, how it is serviced, and how it is legally secured. It's very much important that we don't forget that. The second reality which we need to remind ourselves of is the capital and risk problem. And look, every one of us agrees that, look, if we're really going to make a dent with regards to housing, there has to be serious capital involved. I like what the one of the speakers during the previous session, when he was talking about statistics about housing. Yes, once upon a time, 17 million was bandied, and I think at the moment now you have about 28 million. That's the housing deficit that is being provided by the Nigerian government, and that's more or less comes to almost about 50% of the total housing deficit that you have in Africa. That is serious opportunity, if you like to say it. And the question here is this: how are you able to use PropTech to actually bring the sort of funding that DFIs will be willing to provide within that ecosystem? Because really, the important thing for everybody is that, look, can we find a way to deploy, protect, and recover capital? I was involved in the, I was part of the implementation team for the MRIF. That's the latest housing mortgage scheme, which was just set up by the Nigerian government. It's a PPP initiative. And one of the things we had to think through was, how are we going to set up this structure that gives comfort to the private sector to create a sustainable fund whereby capital continue to flow into it? And looks like we did that because we were able to achieve an investment grade for that particular instrument. Beyond just achieving an investment grade, we're also able to get the private sector. Private sector was supposed to invest about 100 billion. That was actually oversubscribed. PropTech, we need to begin to think along that lines. And of course, the final reality that we all have to live within is the fact that trust and the customer experience is one of the difficult realities we have to engage with. People have a long memory. They will never forget a bad experience that they have, and which is why it is very much important for us as players within this industry that, look, we bring our minds around this. Now, having established this, the crux of my conversation today is going to be framed around these three pillars. These, I believe, are three core pillars that, as a PropTech, you need to imbue yourself in, because that's the only way in which you're going to build a PropTech that moves from a nice to have to more or less an industry defining technology. And we're going to spend a bit of time just going through each one of them. Just remember, these three pillars are core. First and foremost, the first pillar, product pipeline fit. Now, the big idea here is pretty simple. You need to attach yourself to a critical node. What I've highlighted here is the different nodes that you have across the housing sector pipeline. Now, you have two choices. You can either be a nice to have at each one of these pipelines, or you can decide that you want to be a maker in that particular pipeline, such that it is, if they take you out of that particular node within the pipeline, it is either the pipeline breaks or it slows down significantly. That's the way in which we need to start thinking along the lines of what we begin to deliver on the PropTech space. The second pillar, you need to begin to think that, look, are there ways in which you can actually start transforming behavior? I like one of the things one of the demos said. He said that, look, we try to create a single truth, a single source of truth, which is very, very much important. Whatever it is that you create, you need to create a single source of truth. You have to be very careful that you don't create that sort of system whereby you still need to be pulling information from other systems. The more you are able to pull information into just one system and have one single point of truth, such that whether it's the developer, whether it's the market, everybody sees one complete uniform circle. Very, very much important. You must do it in such a way that it is easy for whether an institution, a fund manager, an investor is able to track and review without headache. It basically makes it significantly important that, look, you create a situation whereby data can be collected in a way that is repeatable and can be controlled. I go to the final point. Pillar 3, capital and confidence design. The big idea here is this: design in such a way that capital feels safe. You need to be able to show your unit economics. You need to be able to show your revenue quality. You need to be able to provide governance. It's, one of the things I want us to be very careful about is focusing on vanity metrics. Things like, oh, this is how we're seeing the sort of users coming to our website. Unless these users can actually be converted into revenue whereby you'll be able to track, oh, this is how much it costs for us to be able to make this transaction happen. This is the sort of revenue that we're generating on this particular transaction. And this is how we believe we can scale the transaction. This is how we believe that, look, this revenue is not just a one-off transaction that we make from one particular client, but look, when we get that one client, we're able to create a stream of recurring revenue over a long-term relationship. Is this sort of things that give investors significant confidence? Always remember, the idea is not just to impress on demo day. The idea is to survive reality, changing realities. I hope these three are things which you can just bring your mind around. And so what I would like you, founders in the house, if I know a lot of you are still here, what I would like you to do, I call this like your 3 next moves. Number 1, see if you can actually position your product to be more than just a nice to have at different nodes. See how well you can change it and transform it to become a node maker, such that if they take it out of the node, and this might be a longer time decision in terms of how you want to get there, but that should be the background thinking you need to have. You need to be able to change key current practices by introducing some measure of digital discipline in terms of how people behave. And of course, if you can create a one-page capital story showing investors how you make, protect, and grow money for you and your partners, it becomes a lot easier to sell the story of success that your your technology is going to create. And for us, investors and developers, it's pretty simple. We need to be able to ask these questions. Our ability to ask these questions actually helps founders to be able to think a lot more clearly, a lot more stronger in terms of the value that they're going to be creating within the housing sector. Look, first question, where in the housing pipeline do you sit and how critical is that node? I'm sure you can already relate it to what it is that we've said today. Number two, show me the digital discipline. What behavior have you changed and how do you prove it? And I know that was one of the questions that was even raised to one of the demos that one of the companies that presented. We need to be able to understand the behavior that you have changed and how you can prove it. And you need to be able to ask that question. If I put serious capital or inventory through your platform, what happens to my risk specifically? Very, very much important. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I'm raising this sort of thoughts here is this. I'm looking in terms of the legacy and impacts that we can use PropTech to create. We need to be able to look at the families that we've been able to move into decent homes, which based on the technology that we have built. We need to be able to look at companies that has lasted the long haul. I mean, we've been talking very much in terms of fintech. I'm looking forward to PropTechs that are actually able to sustain and really, really evolve into big institutions within the industry. And of course, very much important, how much long capital? I think it was Mobolaji that said that at the beginning of our conversation that, look, we haven't been getting capital into PropTech. Perhaps if we can address these three key pillars, we might be able to get long-term capital that now feels safe entering into the Nigerian housing sector. The real mark of success wouldn't be how many PropTech rounds we close. It will be how many homes exist because we built sustainable technology-powered businesses. Thank you very much. And one of the things I'd like to leave before I go are what I call thinking sheets. You can just copy on this QR code or this link. Take it as my gift for you founders. They're just 3 sets of thinking sheets, just a couple of thoughts, ideas to help you fine tune your idea as you go. It's not an email collection thing, so there's no email. You simply just click on that link. It's going to take you a place where you can download all those files. It's my investment in you, believing that you guys bring value to be able to create the sort of transformation that we expect within the housing sector. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tola. This was a masterclass. Felt like we're in a strategy session for an MBA. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for the insights you've shared. Thank you very much for the words of advice and the pattern gifts to the thinking sheets. I'll make sure to check the website and yeah. To the founders in the house, those that presented and those that didn't present. So I think it's very important that you check, you go through the link that he has put on the, okay, the link is already in the chat box, so everyone can see it. Is it possible for us to get the slides, or that's something that's private, you don't share to the public?
All right, I share the slide with you. So how would you prefer? Do you want me
Yeah.
to send the slide? I can send the slide to you and then you can share it to all people that registered.
Yeah, I could. Yes, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very
I'll just
much,
send
sir.
it to you once this is over. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Defra. Thank you very much, Bolatito. Thank you very much, Eldred. Thank you very much, Ola, for staying with us for 2 hours on Friday. Like this is much appreciated. I don't know, Babatunde, do you have any parting words? I think we should
Yeah, I can.
call it a day and close it.
I didn't know I was coming on stage, but I'm happy to do that. First of all, thank you so much, Mr. Tala. That was a great ending and pathing keynote session for us, for the audience. Very insightful and very meaningful. So thank you so much. And for everyone who presented, thank you all for joining us. It's great seeing all of the innovation that's coming out of, I want to say Africa, but obviously we're Nigerians for the most part on the call. So I want to specifically call out Nigeria and the innovation that's coming out of there, and the challenges that you all have boldly chosen to take on. And I just want to say that us at NHM, we are cheering you on. One of the challenges that we're solving is the part of information, right? And I think a couple of you mentioned that earlier. For me, I am a Nigerian in diaspora, and I was looking to invest in Nigeria. And I'm someone who loves information. I'm someone who loves data. And before I decided that I wanted to invest, I was looking for data. I was looking for information, and I couldn't find any. And for the websites that I did find, it was a bunch of different ads and advertisements and different scammy looking links that I was clicking on. And to me, that was a challenge. And to me, that was a problem. And that was what bettered NHM. So following to this presentation, we are actually launching a PropTech directory, which is your home where you will find all the innovative PropTech that's solving different challenges within the ecosystem, including the 4 that you saw today. And you're going to see their information, how to get in touch with them, their contact, and if there's any interest or any questions that you have for any of them, you're able to do that from our PropTech directory live on nigerianhousingmarket.com. So once again, I want to say thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you very, very soon.
Thank you, Olatunde, for the final words. Thank you, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.